showdown in the light heavyweight division between Tyler Flores and Tuco Tocos with the Fury FC light heavyweight title on the line. But we get things started with a packed prelim card for Fury FC 59, featuring some of our most exciting up-and-comers in the Fury FC bantamweight, featherweight divisions. It's a perfect day for some fights in the city of Houston. Live from Escapade 2001, it's time for these fighters to unleash the Fury. And welcome in, I'm Raheel Ramzanali, joined by the future champ Alex Morano, the black belt himself, Michael Alexander. And it is a great day for fights, gentlemen, but we get started with this packed prelim card.
Yeah, a lot of local talent on this card, and you get to see some heavyweights, big knockouts coming.
Yeah, there's a lot of bantamweights and featherweights as well, so we're going to see some guys fighting fast and furious alongside the heavyweights. It's going to be a fun prelim.
All right, let's get things started with the fourth member of our broadcasting. We throw it inside to the cage, to the man, the legend, the best-dressed man in MMA, Wayne Leggett.
Good afternoon, fight fans, and welcome to Escapade 2001 at Imagine Venues in Houston, Texas for Fury Fighting Championship 59. Flores versus Tocos for the light heavyweight championship. But first, please welcome to the cage for your opening undercard bout, Devin Jackson.
All right, we get a chance to get things going with Devin Jackson taking on Dominic Perez and making his return to the ring after more than 4 years off, Michael. A really interesting thing, like, hey, 4 years off, but I'm good. Like, let's get back into this and find that groove.
Yeah, that can be really good or that can be really, really bad. But, you know, right now, Devin Jackson, we called his opener, and he won a rear naked choke against a very, very tough Joshua Van. So we were all kind of shocked by that, but I mean, this kid is really, really good. He was 5-1 as an amateur. 4 of his 5 amateur wins are finishes. He has good back takes, but has been finished with a rear naked choke as an amateur against a 7-0 Jalen Bates, and it was a title fight. So this guy's an amateur, didn't fight a bunch of chumps. This guy's really, really good.
Yeah, and he's wildly athletic. I mean, for those watching, he just did a front flip out as he was walking, you know, into the greasing corner, and he shows it. He's very physical when he fights, and you know, he's big and strong for the weight class.
And I apologize, it was Dominic who had the long layoff, but Devin is also coming off that long layoff, as you mentioned, and we did get a chance to watch him against Josh Van, and he took a beating, but you know, had that wherewithal to finally get that RNC.
Please welcome to the red corner, Dominic Perez.
Dominic Perez, local fighter. You hear the cheers. So excited to see him back in the cage. Hasn't fought since 2018, which was at Fury FC 27. Man, that seems like a decade ago, but it wasn't a decade ago,
Yeah.
about 4 years.
Yeah, hasn't fought since November of 2018. He's 0-1 with his initial loss to Jordan Carmona by arm triangle. This kid was 6-4 as an amateur. He was very streaky. He started out 4-0 and then went 4-4 and then was 2-0 to finish off his amateur career and decided to turn pro. He says he's a purple belt in Wrestle Jitsu. So very confident in his ability to get on the ground. He's the owner of TXO Academy, which started in 2017, which may you know, be the reason for the layoff. He's trying to start a business, then COVID happens, then all these other things. So looking forward to seeing this guy back in the cage. It's very exciting.
And here's our tale of the tape, brought to you by Bump Box. The 29-year-old Dominic Perez, 5'5", 64-inch reach, 4 inches less than Devin Jackson, the 27-year-old. Both fighters made weight, and man, this is going to be a great way to get our prelim card going. And let's go inside to Wayne.
Ladies and gentlemen, your opening undercard bout is scheduled for 3 rounds in the Fury FC Flyweight Division. Introducing your first competitor, fighting out of the blue corner. This freestyle fighter stands 5 feet, 5 inches tall, and he weighed in at a perfect 125 pounds. Fighting out of the Pacific Northwest, Tri-Cities, Washington, he holds a professional record of 1 win, no losses. This is Devin, the relentless DJ Quick Jackson. And introducing his opponent across the cage, fighting out of the red corner. This mixed martial artist is 5 feet 5 inches tall, and he weighed in officially at 125.8 pounds. Fighting out of Pearland, Texas, today he seeks his first professional victory. This is the Texas Outlaw, Dominic Perez. Your referee in charge of the action, Danny De Alejandro.
So here we go, a little flyweight showdown to get us started on Fury FC 59. The undercard, Devin Jackson, Dominic Perez. And right away, the pace and the tempo pushing by Dominic.
Yeah, Perez is stalking pretty heavily early. He was met with the right hand from Jackson, but it didn't deter him from coming forward.
Yeah, a lot of forward pressure so far from Dominic Perez, but Devin Jackson looks like he's trying to counter there. Caught that leg, maybe caught Dominic on the way down there.
Nice, you see Perez maybe looking to hit a reap to try to attack a leg lock. He's got to stay above the knee. He's got a decent little reap on it. It looks like he lost the knee, which means he lost control. He's looking to set up like a modified, single leg X sweep. If I were him, I would elect to turn that into a leg drag and come on top, and he did, which I think was very smart. But a super quick scramble there from Jackson. We expected these guys to be fast, and they are.
Devin Jackson, the former All-American wrestler, has a great ground game, just relentless, as you heard. The nickname from Wayne, DJ Quick. And this is where I want to see Dominic, right? Like that layoff. How are you going to adjust with a guy like this on you?
Well, as you see in his corner, he's got Drew Radicek and Nico Echeverri over there. So he's got definitely some firepower in his corner over there. So if he's training with those guys, they're putting him through the grind every day. Probably a lot worse than what he's going through right now.
Yeah. And it was funny you mentioned, he considers his style like wrestle jitsu, and that's like a big American influence style of Brazilian jiu-jitsu, wrestling being so prolific. But I also know at ACS they actually have a pretty strong judo foundation as well. So they have a really cool hybrid like takedown style. Kind of pretty much every grappling combat sport, they pick some takedowns from there. But he is on bottom now, and he's not threatening some arm bars. Decent attempt, but he lost the elbow line.
Yeah, and you see Devin Jackson, man, every time it looks like he's in a little bit of trouble, he is making Dominic pay for those positions.
Some good overhands from Devin Jackson, just constantly bringing it.
Yeah, Jackson's actually landing some really good shots, and usually from closed guard, the bottom man can control the posture so well, but Jackson doesn't seem to mind.
There you go for it.
Yeah, with that wrestling background, he has definitely learned to punch from that guard position. Doing really, really well from this top side position here. Looking to pass the guard here. He's in this half guard position. He's trying to improve that position, but this is a great position. We talk about this just about every event. That's a great position to punch from the top.
Yeah, you beat me to it. I mean, top half is great. It was interesting. Jackson actually, he had a deep underhook there from that half guard, so he had a really easy inside cut-through pass. And he's still riding that same underhook, trying to keep Perez flat. And he's having a lot of success, top control time, and he's doing very effective damage with these ground and pound shots.
Yeah, Dominic Perez comes out the backside right there, tries to take the back. Not able to do it, but back in the standing position. Nice little hip toss there from...
Yeah, from the body lock. I mean, that was really impressive.
Under 2 minutes left in the opening round. Devin Jackson, Dominic Perez. Devin Jackson just relentless.
Yeah,
man.
Relentless pace so far on top, just non-stop. And that's what you get with these smaller guys usually, is this the speed, the cardio is always there.
That was a power half. That was cool.
Yeah,
that was pretty wrestling heavy right there from Jackson.
Yeah, power half Nelson got it to get him flat on his back. Beautiful, beautiful wrestling there from Devin Jackson. Back into half guard again. A good spot to punch from the top.
One thing I love about Jackson's performance here tonight so far is he's wasting no time at all in the transitions. I mean, offensively and defensively. And he's won nearly every second of this round because of that.
Yeah, and if something doesn't change here, this could very well be a 10-8 round. Not a ton of damage here, but still a minute to go. And Devin Jackson has dominated this round so far. He's holding that arm. Again, that wrestling coming into play. He's making that one arm ineffective.
The only real strike that Perez landed was the kick that got caught, which actually led him to the takedown. So, he's not had much success here so far in this first round.
Yeah, and Devin Jackson's been landing from everywhere, from the guard, it just doesn't seem Dominic Perez just doesn't seem to be able to keep him off of him.
Start seeing that right eye of Dominic also starting to get a little bruised up.
Looks like he's going for a calf crusher here.
You know, Perez's leg lock transitions aren't the worst. And he's on top now. I like that he does use it to sweep.
20 seconds left in the first round.
Yeah, that's plenty of time to finish this choke. He's a little off to the side there. Probably should have improved his position just a little bit before he tried that choke, but
yeah, especially with no shirts on and they're sweating. The seatbelt grip before back takes is very slippery and easy to, you know, lose control of, whereas the body lock, you can at least keep some good connection.
yeah, it looked like he was trying to transition for an armbar as the round ended, but very dominant performance in round 1 by Devin Jackson.
Let's take a look at some of the highlights here of round 1. That dominating round for Devin Jackson. Started with those hands.
Hey, you see Devin Jackson very relaxed here in his punches, standing in a very good position, catches that kick, and then this is where it starts. It stayed this way pretty much. A few transitions, leg lock transitions for Dominic Perez, but nothing doing. Devin Jackson staying heavy with the pressure from the top.
There's that beautiful hip toss slash trip that we saw, that beautiful leg work. Man, that was a big moment in the round because it looked like Dominic Perez might be okay. We might be standing back up, and Devin using that excellent throw there to get it back to the ground. And just a great performance so far for Devin Jackson. You know, we have a little time here to chat about this. For a guy who's 1-0 and does have some AMI fights, had 6 AMI fights, how hard is it to like get that pace at such a young point in your career? Because he never stopped pushing, and that was a lot of fun to watch for Devin Jackson.
And you got to expect that with these flyweights. I mean, this pace will not slow down. And if one of the guys does, he's going to be in for some trouble.
Got Dominic Perez coming out in the second round, getting right in the face of Devin Jackson again.
Yeah, I like Perez's pressure. He throws a little wider with his punches, which for MMA is totally cool. But Jackson, he's a little more crisp with his shots. He'll throw him straighter, and it looks like he's got a little more pop to him.
Yeah, and you can see the body language in between rounds. You can see Devin Jackson's the fresher fighter. You can see Dominic Perez a little bit labored right now in his punches starting the second round. It's not a good sign. See if he can get on top and maybe wear some pressure. And a nice left there from Dominic Perez.
Just caught him there. That was nice. Devin Jackson's so big for the weight class as well. You can just see just the bulk on him for a 125er man.
Yeah, he's got a lot of muscle mass for sure. Big uppercut there from Jackson. You know, if there's any criticism to give to Jackson, he does take the back foot just a little bit. He opened up a cut there under the right eye there of Perez. And you see when Jackson's coming forward, he's really doing some damage. It's when he allows Perez to back him up that he's actually on the receiving end. Another good left hook there from Jackson.
Here we go, nice exchange by both of the men in there. Surprised Devin Jackson hasn't taken it back to the ground. Oh, and a big uppercut just caught Perez there.
Jackson's landing consistently and accurately.
Yeah, they made some adjustment in there because he is throwing that jab right into an uppercut almost every combination now. So they saw something that they liked in between rounds that obviously instructed Devin Jackson to throw that jab and then try that uppercut. He's also tried that liver shot a few times.
Yeah, he connected early in the round. Good catch by you, Michael. Devin Jackson working the body. Unloading a little bit here with the hands. Nice to see that from Devin Jackson, All-American wrestler.
I mean, he's got hands on him too. He's got a good pop. And he's narrowly missing some big shots, but I mean, that's the fun part about MMA. It's not always the best boxer wins it.
Yeah, that's right. And Devin Jackson kind of throwing the whole arsenal at Dominic Perez right now. Kicks, punches, takedowns, just about everything you can think of. Devin Jackson is throwing at Dominic Perez right now, dominating this fight so far.
Dominic Perez, former 2 weight class champion in his amateur career, making a return to the cage after 4 years off. Devin Jackson looking really fresh, and I'm sure like in any sport, man, when you're in the zone, it just feels so much easier right now, and things open up. And Devin Jackson seems like he's in that zone.
Yeah, and
he sure does.
And you lose a lot less energy, Alex. Sorry, Alex, but
No.
there's a lot less energy used whenever you're connecting than there is whenever you're missing. And Devin Jackson's connecting on just about everything he's throwing right now.
And he's not really getting countered. I'll tell you, I'd love to see Jackson go back to that left hook. His lead hook was the punch that was doing the majority of the damage early in the second round. and he's gotten away from it a little bit.
1:45 left in round number 2.
Touching him with that jab.
Yeah, Dominic Perez kind of planted his feet. I thought he was going to start throwing something, but he just took a couple shots.
Seems like one of those rounds for Dominic, just survive and get out of it and see what you can do in the third, because Devin Jackson is dealing right now.
Yeah, Devin Jackson looks as fresh as he did in the first round.
It's really the pressure difference that's allowed him to land so much.
Yeah, and that's a bad sign. You saw Dominic Perez kind of put his hand down on just below his hip. That's a telltale sign of exhaustion. Not just in MMA, but just about in any sport.
Yeah.
Tell you what, though, if Dominic Perez lands one of those big haymakers.
That is the good thing about him. He's still throwing. He's still trying to execute his game plan. Trying to find that speed, trying to find that pace and that tempo and that distance back in the ring.
Yeah, there's still some fire behind those punches.
Yeah, and he's being defensive. He rolls with the shots really well. It looks like he really can't find his footing.
Yeah, and that could be from, you know, like we said, from that almost 4-year layoff. It could be from that. Maybe have a little ring rust. You know, maybe have just not used to being in there. Those lights get a little hotter whenever you've been out of them for a while.
Huge takedown there.
Well-timed double there from Jackson. And Jackson, he does not land prey. He blasts these takedowns and then gets right to work. You gotta love that style.
Kind of a hammer fist fight there for a second. They're throwing hammer fists back and forth from the top and from the bottom.
Absolutely dominating second round for Devin Jackson.
So watching these highlights, notice the left hook there from Jackson. There was a good little liver shot. He brought a couple of them upstairs. And that's what actually opened up that cut. That was a good jab.
Yeah, Devin Jackson landing just punch after punch. Looks like at least 2 of his punches in each 3-punch combination are landing.
Yeah, and it's not even the left hook that's doing all the damage. It's the left hook that's allowing the entry for those 3 and 4 hit combos to actually land, as you were saying, Michael. And again, I think it's a really good opening punch for these combinations here for Jackson.
Yeah, and we see a much improved Devin Jackson over from his last fight. You know, even though he won that last fight, I mean, he was taking a lot of punishment here. He's hardly taking a punch at all in this fight so far. Looking great.
Yeah, and that victory has actually aged very well. Joshua Van's a beast. He's doing very well, being very active.
Yeah.
As we were looking at the highlights, the fighters in their corners were just making sure Dominic Perez is okay to go. That right eye, just making sure everything is lined up. But while we were looking at the highlights, Devin Jackson, the rare stand-up in between rounds, did not sit on the stool. He was like, I'm good. I love that.
Man, I love the mind games in between rounds, and you know, if you can stand up, if you see that your opponent, it looks like they're going to stop this fight. It looks like Dominic Perez is unable to see out of that eye, but looks like they're gonna stop this fight. Oh no, they're gonna let it go.
All right, here we go. We're gonna make sure.
Oh. You know what? We'll get the official decision. Oh, he's calling it.
Calling the fight. It is officially called.
That was some weird body language from the referee for a fight he's calling. Looked like he was saying, let's do this.
Yeah, usually they wave it. Like, the first thing to do is they'll give the double arms wave as if a finish just happened, just so everyone is aware.
All right, so that is going to be it. We're going to end this fight here, and just look.
You never want to compromise your vision. I mean, that was a big cut. I don't see him winning that fight, honestly, in the third. You know, respectfully, that was not the worst stoppage.
Yeah, here we go with the highlights from the fight. This is the Devin Jackson show from the first bell to the last. Devin Jackson just dominating the stand-up game, dominated him on the ground. Dominic Perez did have a few transitions into these angle locks, but nothing doing. Devin Jackson was able to counter those, able to actually turn it to his favor and get in favorable positions from the top every time Dominic Perez tried that.
Yeah, Perez had one pretty significant cut, you know, right on the outside of his eyelid. And then he had another small cut right on top. I mean, that wasn't, he doesn't even seem too disappointed in the stoppage. I think he knows his vision was becoming pretty compromised. And that's one thing you can't really risk too much in these fights, especially, you know, it being only your second fight.
You're right. Look, it's both fighters younger in their careers in terms of the record, right? So what are you trying to accomplish right now? You're trying to get that experience back if you're Dominic Perez. Devin Jackson trying to build up that record. I feel like both guys got the experience, got what they wanted to get out of this fight, and why risk anything else with division? And you know, that's going to be the referee stoppage here. So Devin Jackson will get the win, move to 2-0, and as you mentioned, Michael, impressive second fight in his pro career, because he didn't look this good with the stand-up.
Yeah, man. Josh. And like Alex said, that win has aged well, because you know Joshua Van has turned out to be an absolute beast since then, winning 3 or 4 fights in a row.
Let's go inside to Wayne to make this official.
Ladies and gentlemen, the doctor calls for a stop to the action due to Dominic Perez's inability to continue. Your official time, 10 seconds, round number 3, ruling this bout a no decision.
No decision.
So no, that's incorrect. I mean, that would be a TKO victory there for Jackson.
Yeah, that doesn't make any sense to me. I don't understand that.
If I'm Jackson's corner, I'm freaking out right now, because he did the damage. He got the.
Yeah, that was a doctor stoppage as far as I'm concerned. I don't understand that at all. How's that even possible? Yeah, we're trying to get some information here about how they came to that decision, but promoter Herrera Garcia is over there talking to the state now.
Okay, well, that's, yeah, we're all confused by, so it didn't happen. All right, let's go to Wayne for our next fight.
To the blue corner for your next fight, Kyle Powell.
Some technical issues on the decision on the last one. That will be overturned, I'm sure.
Yeah,
for sure.
That'll be a win for Devin Jackson. I hope it does. Herrera Garcia over there talking to the state now, letting them know they made a mistake, but
we'll figure it out. Hopefully that is overturned, and we go to our second fight of our prelims for Fury FC 59 Perez. And we meet Kyle Powell now, fighting out of Albuquerque. Jackson Wink MMA. Good stand-up fighter, has a really good tank, Michael.
Yeah, man, this guy, he's 24 years old, calls himself the Kingslayer. He's fighting out of Jackson Wink in New Mexico, so of course a big camp, you know, big school over there. So a lot of killers over there coming out of Jackson Wink, but both of his losses are by decision. This guy was 10-3 as an amateur. He has an Emmy win by a tarantula armbar. I don't know what that is. I'm going to look that up. But I meant to look that up before I came here. But this kid's been fighting since 2016. So 13 amateur fights. He's got a lot of experience.
You know what? We're both black belts. We've been in the jiu-jitsu game a long time. I've also not heard of that. And I'm a stickler for names and titles because I teach. And I've also not heard of that. That's interesting. I'd be curious to see exactly what that submission looks like.
You might have to go to our Fury FC Instagram, and you guys can put a tarantula.
Please welcome to the red corner, Jordan Pluton.
And Jordan Pluton now making his way to the cage. Got his first pro win at Fury FC 56 in San Antonio. He beat Aaron Patterson, opened up the main card. A young, talented fighter. Man, I'm excited to watch Jordan here.
Yeah, Jordan is one of those guys that's kind of an anomaly to me. This dude is a superior athlete. This dude is a specimen. This dude seems to be skilled well, but he just hasn't, before his last fight, he just wasn't able to pull wins out. Now, he has fought some good guys, Nico Kamasong, Josh Rosen, Michael Aswell. He's fought some top-level guys, but this dude is an athletic specimen. I'm pretty pumped to see him back in here.
He's a really big featherweight. He comes from Cuba, and he trains with a bunch of Cuban Olympic wrestlers. I don't know how many have actually competed in the Olympics, but they're all like qualifiers. I've actually trained with them once, and it was a nightmare. I mean, the guys are strong, they're relentless, their wrestling is effective and mean. I always like watching Jordan fight, and his first round pacing is always insane. Maybe not the best tactics, but he's always in for at least one crazy good first round, and then he really runs off a heart for 2 and 3. I always enjoy watching his fights. I'm a fan of him.
Yeah, me too. And like you said, Alex, if you've never trained with wrestlers in general, much less Olympic wrestlers, it's embarrassing. It can, it's very humbling. As a fighter, as a jiu-jitsu guy, whatever it is, you think you've got something. Going there against top-level wrestlers and trying, not just for the skill level, but the actual workout is unbelievable.
Saw a tail of the tape there. A slight reach advantage there for Kyle Powell. And a big thanks to Bunkbox for the tail of the tape for our second fight of our Greenland card for Fury FC 59. And you see just the mass on Jordan for a 145er. Man, that is a big dude.
Ladies and gentlemen, the following contest brought to you by Kimura Tattoo Company in Conroe, Texas, is scheduled for 3 rounds in the Fury FC at a catch weight of 150 pounds. Introducing to you first, fighting out of the blue corner. This freestyle fighter stands 5 feet 9 inches tall, and he weighed in officially at 148.8 pounds. Fighting out of Albuquerque, New Mexico, today he seeks his second professional victory. This is Kyle Kingslayer Powell. And introducing his opponent across the cage, fighting out of the red corner. This mixed martial artist is 5 feet 8 inches tall, and he weighed in officially at 148 pounds. Fighting out of Houston, Texas. Today, he too seeks his second professional victory. This is Jordan, the Shadow Pluton. Your referee in charge of the action, Professor Joe Solis.
Does Jordan Pluton have UFC shaved in the side of his head? Not this side, the other side.
You know what? I'm not too sure.
He does. He does have UFC shaved into the side of his head. I like that.
He's a fight fan at the very least.
Yeah.
I like that. That's what I'm going to do for the next card we have. Maybe Fury FC on the side for me.
There's $100 in it for you if you do it.
Oh, man.
I'll chip in.
Yeah.
All right, I'm going to have to do it. I don't know if my wife is going to like it, but
$200 if you type Fury FC in the, you shave Fury FC in the fade.
So one thing you're seeing Pluton actually pre-measured, you'll see him throw some huge punches though. And that's one thing about Powell, you know, being the striker, you know, he's got to be technical, he's got to be sharp the whole time, where Pluton can unload and then definitely try to use his wrestling. I thought that would be his strategy coming into this fight. Because he will slam, he doesn't really conserve his energy much once he grabs a hold of you. Makes for a fun fight.
Kyle has such a good take, by the way. And, you know, of course, the elevation of Albuquerque, Jackson Lake MMA, we know the legendary stuff that happens out there, but just in general, he does have a really good take.
Yeah, and I got to think this catch weight benefits Jordan Pluton a little bit more. You know, cutting a little bit more weight, him being the bigger fighter. I would think that catch weight would benefit him a little more. Landing a couple big shots there.
Yeah, Pluton threw 3 straight lefts in a row. Very technically sound. You know, usually you don't triple up on a power punch, but man, they all landed.
Yeah,
and that's what I mean. Like, he's not like the more technical striker of the two, but he makes it work.
Yeah, he was holding him in place with that other hand, just kind of ragdolling him there for a second.
Really pressuring well. And there's always the threat of the takedown there from Pluton, too. It's you know, for what his record shows, it's a much more challenging fight than you'd think.
Pluton doing such a good job of cutting off the angles, man, and just walking down Kyle.
And he's one of those guys that you can see a definite improvement every time he's out here. A huge improvement this time in conserving energy. And oh, big shot. That's it. Out. Yeah, that was a big shot to the body.
Wow. What a body kick. I mean, that instantly dropped Powell.
I don't know
He's
if you
still feeling it.
I don't know if you could hear that at home. That was the loudest body kick I've ever heard in my life.
I thought that was just a 10-second warning for the round. It sounded, I'm not even joking, I thought it was the wood blocks there. It sounded that loud.
Man, I wonder if that broke a rib or something, because that was unbelievably loud, and that was one of the flushest body kicks I've ever seen.
So, yeah, the doctor just asked Powell, he's like, hey, you know, are you okay? And Powell shook his head yes. He was like, yeah, that was a rough 10 seconds. I mean, and you guys, that's what happens at home. When one of your organs gets hit like that, your body goes into shutdown, you know, preservative mode. And man, you can just see, you know, the highlights coming here in just a second.
Yeah, and Jordan Pluton from that conventional, from that southpaw stance against Kyle Powell in that conventional stance. This is what happens. One side of that body is always open to that back power kick.
And that right side is where the liver sits.
Yep.
It's most exposed.
Boom, right on the button.
Mouthpiece out, just instantly down. I mean, that's a body shot KO.
Oh, man. If you've never felt that, come over to the cage here. Alex Fronto will punch you right in the liver.
and double that, and that's what a kick feels like.
Yeah.
What
a knockout.
The cage flip by Jordan as well into the rare booty shake in the middle. Wow, what a finish to the second fight of our prelim card on Facebook. Thank you everyone for watching. Jordan Pluton gets his second win. And this is what everyone was looking for with Jordan. That moment, right? That putting it all together. What has that look, has everything. We'll recap this in a second, but we go inside to win.
Ladies and gentlemen, Professor Joe Solis calls for a stop to the action. 1 minute, 59 seconds into the very first round, declaring your winner by TKO, the Shadow, Jordan Pluton.
What a win for Jordan Pluton.
Yeah, you saw Jordan Pluton looking out in the audience. He's probably looking for Mick Maynard out there to see where he's at, to see if he can get a thumbs up from Mick Maynard. He's got a little ways to go, but look out. That division just got another contender.
Let's get our third fight underway. Wayne.
Please welcome to the blue corner, Dylan King.
All right, Dylan King, very active fighter. This has the potential to be the fight of the prelim card. We can also look back at these two, Dylan King and Eduardo Anaya, and go, wow, these are the guys, man. Like, this is their moment. Remember that fight, two hot prospects. But Dylan is a guy that, you know, the record might say one thing, but man, he is way more talented than that record.
Yeah, he's fighting out of Colorado Springs over there at Victory MMA with Gilbert Jamal Smith, a UFC veteran. Gilbert Smith, a great dude, great coach, just a stable of fighters over there for this guy to train with also. Dylan, a BJJ purple belt. He's from Houston, Texas, but has been in Colorado for the last 8 years. Said he's really looking forward to this fight. He's looking to make a statement here.
Dylan, a very active fighter, good wrestling, purple belt in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu.
Yeah, fun fact about his coach, you know, Gilbert there. He's got a couple of knockout wins by slam from closed guard. You know, he would be in somebody's closed guard, he would grab their hands and pick them up, and then he would frame on their head and slam them. And I've seen him knock a couple guys out like that. It's always a wild finish.
Yeah, I had a grappling match at a charity event against Gilbert Smith, and I ended up getting him, but grabbing him is like grabbing a bowling ball. It's unbelievable. He's very, very strong, very powerful dude.
Dylan, get inside the cage.
Please welcome to the red corner, Eduardo Anaya.
Anaya is the guy that I circled looking at this undercard. A prospect to watch, fighting out of Metro Fight Club. Trains with guys that we've called their fights for. Justice Torres, of course, being one of the main ones. But everyone's talking about Anaya, man. Just gets that record going, and he can be the next hot prospect out of Houston.
Yeah, you guys will see when he's in the cage. He's a really tall bantamweight, 135er, and he's got some height to him. You know, actually, one of his pro fights was against one of my guys, so I did a lot of tape studying on him, and I actually became a fan of him. And in his last fight, he had a pretty cool clutch come from behind triangle choke win. I mean, he's a fun guy to watch.
One cool thing about him, man, as you mentioned, his striking is fun. He's really active, but he will throw some good head kicks as well. Really good work from there. And you see the tail of the tape. 28-year-old Dylan King, 5'8", gives up 3 inches to Eduardo Anaya. but has the rare reach advantage, the shorter reach advantage. Love seeing that 1-inch reach advantage for Dylan King over Eduardo Anaya.
Referee Joe Solis making his last inspections before Eduardo Anaya enters the cage. See that big, tall frame? Just towering over Dylan King.
Let's go inside to Wayne Leggett.
Ladies and gentlemen, the following contest brought to you by Space City Collective is scheduled for 3 rounds in the Fury FC Bantamweight division. Introducing to you first, fighting out of the blue corner. This freestyle fighter stands 5 feet, 8 inches tall, and he weighed in officially at 135.4 pounds. Fighting out of Colorado Springs, Colorado, by way of Houston, Texas. Today, he seeks his second professional victory. This is Dylan Killer King. And introducing his opponent across the cage, fighting out of the red corner. This mixed martial artist stands 5 feet 11 inches tall, and he weighed in at 135.2 pounds. Fighting out of Houston, Texas, he holds a professional record of 2 wins, 2 losses. This is Eduardo Anaya. Your referee in charge of the action, Danny De Alejandro.
All right, so we get this 135 fight going here. Fight number 3, Dylan King, Eduardo Anaya.
Yeah, Anaya comes from a very strong camp in Metro. Adrian Yana's in his corner, done very well for himself in the UFC. They got a big roster on their team of lighter weight, active young fighters, and that's the best thing you could ever hope for.
Yeah, Cameron Smotherman over in his corner, also one of those fighters that you're talking about. Cameron, always exciting to see. Hopefully, see him on another Fury card soon.
Interesting. King has a decent-sized cut over his left ear, and they barely even made contact. I'd be curious to see in the highlights where that came from. You see King closes the distance and puts Anaya's back on the cage, but Anaya gets double underhooks and actually reverses the position.
Yeah, it's up in the hair, so I wonder if that's an existing something that he may have had before. Because, like you said, I didn't see anything that I didn't see a collision that would have caused that, but who knows?
He's bleeding pretty good too. I mean,
yeah, maybe Anaya bit him.
You know, they had just the smallest little exchange before King shot, and it could have been maybe from a headbutt on the shot, but no telling. Well, I guess we'll find out in a few minutes.
We didn't see any reaction. Usually when guys bump heads on those exchanges, you see them kind of respond to it, but nothing there, so we'll see what happens.
He probably has no idea he's bleeding either. He probably thinks he's just sweating.
You know what? I've actually been cut in only 2 fights, and I didn't know I was cut until I saw the blood. I didn't feel anything, so it could be the case. Oh, good knee there from Anaya as he exits out. We got a fair amount of blood in these prelims pretty early. Good left hook there from King.
Our cage crew working overtime here, making sure everything is nice and clean inside.
Yeah, if you guys at home haven't been to one of these Fury Fighting Championship cards yet, live, you have to come to one. Being in a town near you, I know they got plans for New Orleans later this year. A lot of shows here in Houston, Texas, San Antonio.
Dylan King working up against the cage.
And
Second time.
Sorry, Anaya does have really good front chokes. I mean, naturally, with the longer frame, he's got good Darce chokes, good anaconda chokes. When he fought one of my guys a couple years back, he actually had him locked up in an anaconda for 2 or 3 minutes. And my guy was able to survive, but it just shows, you know, that the skill set he has when grappling.
That Dylan King went for a takedown. Has gone for a couple of takedowns this time, and Anaya's doing a good job of foiling those takedowns.
Yeah, he instantly whizzers and then pummels the underhook.
King doing a good job
for his weight class.
Uh-oh.
This is deep.
Yeah, a little bit of trouble here if he gets those hands together.
2 minutes left in the first round.
Even though it's not under the chin, this can still do quite a number. I've seen guys get put to sleep with rear naked chokes over the chin.
Yeah, and he's not defending it the proper way. You do not want to defend that with that bottom hand. You want to pull up, reach up and grab that lever hand and pull it over the front of your body. It's really difficult to choke you with one arm.
Yeah, Anaya must have felt his chin was in a good spot, or the angle was perhaps off, because he didn't seem too worried about that. You know, effectively locked in choke.
Well, and also, if he can get tall, you know, being the taller fighter, if he can get tall and get that elbow above the elevation of King's shoulder, that arm becomes really, really weak.
Anaya feeling really comfortable, just kind of giving away one of the arms, just making sure that off arm doesn't connect. Feels confident in his ability to defend that choke.
You know, this is an important exchange. It was a relatively close round. I would have actually given the nod to Anaya before the takedown and back take, but now it's most certainly King's round so far. Good reversal from Anaya.
Yeah, beautiful job of using the cage to get around and get back in front of Dylan King.
Yeah, from the few strikes we've seen from Anaya, he's got good clinch work. He's hit a couple good knees on the exit.
Eduardo Anaya feeling comfortable there in the clinch, trying to see what will open up as he has Dylan King up against it.
You know, I'd say whoever can really, you know, do some damage here at the end of this first round, maybe 30 seconds left, land some big shots, could maybe steal it. But that back take was the most significant action of this first round.
Yeah, Dylan may want to try to drop down for another takedown again. But Anaya doing a good job of keeping his head underneath the head of Dylan King to make sure he can't change levels. Anaya actually in a good spot for a takedown himself. He wants to drop down.
Near the end of the first round here. And this is going to be an interesting round to score because, as you mentioned, there was no moment in that last 30 seconds where either guy stood out or could have taken it. We can take a look at some of the highlights here.
Yeah, a couple of nice takedown attempts from Dylan King, but Anaya does a good job of staying heavy and keeping those feet flat on the floor.
You know, I looked close. I couldn't see where that could have happened.
Yeah, I still don't see it. I think it may have been something existing that maybe he was very, very small, but those things turn big really quick in a fight. There you see the back take with that body triangle. Immediately was out of position a little bit, and Anaya did a great job of using the cage to regain position.
Final instructions from Eduardo Anaya's corner. See what both fighters can do in the second round. Never got a really good chance to see Anaya open up his striking.
You saw Anaya go in for that leg kick. He was kind of ginger about it whenever he went in there. Be curious to see what would happen if he started digging into those leg kicks. Well, that stance is Dylan, wide stance. And it's really heavy on that front leg. If he was to start wearing out that front leg, it would probably affect Dylan King pretty negatively.
There's a good speed on that high kick there from Anaya. Good jab as well.
Good to see Dylan King also throwing some of those kicks in.
Yeah, and another southpaw, and actually Anaya is switching stances back and forth. He goes from southpaw.
He'll super consistently switch the entire fight too.
Yeah, it looks like it depends on the way that Dylan King is retreating. He'll switch.
Nice spinning back fist from Dylan King.
Well, Anaya may have accidentally kicked Dylan King in the cup, but
Dylan didn't seem behind.
both fighters up against the cage right there, about a foot from Mike the Truth Jackson. Mike the Truth making the walk in the UFC again next month. Here we go. There's Dylan King shoots in for that takedown. Anaya's doing a good job of staying heavy on his head, pushing on the back of that head now.
Good pressure from Dylan King, but Anaya doing a good job of just making sure nothing else happens from there. You see that exit spinning elbow just missed.
King really likes those spinning strikes, and those can be devastating if they land. But you got to be careful doing it, though, because it can be when they go wrong, that can be devastating also.
Yeah.
Oh, I saw Anaya try a little spinning back fist of his own.
And that one was like fate. You know, King just changed levels to throw a low punch and just so happened to throw that punch the moment Anaya threw that back fist and it made him miss. Good front kick there from Anaya. King felt that one.
Anaya's got that arm around the neck, trying to fish that other hand through to clasp those hands together.
Anaya felt how deep his choking arm was, so he elected to connect his hands, but his corner just told him not to go for the guillotine and for the takedown. He looked at him, acknowledged him, and listened. And
yeah,
that could very well save him from, you know, losing this takedown.
Yeah, really difficult to get any leverage on a guillotine when you're up against the cage. Even if you drop down up against the cage, your back is up against there. It's really, really difficult to get that leverage. Nice big double leg slam there from Dylan King.
You know, even with that grip, you see Anaya's left arm is under the arm of King. Back when his head was trapped in the armpit, you know, we call that reversal the cement mixer. You could easily roll him over, but he didn't really use it.
Yeah, again, both these guys are young. Both these guys are early in their career. Hopefully they watch stuff like this and, you know, listen to guys like Alex Morano, who's been around the block. Correct some of these mistakes. But both fighters, I mean, not making a ton of mistakes. Both fighters very technically sound, kind of canceling each other out.
Good angle there from Anaya. He's got to get his back against the cage very quick before King can get that right hook in. Anaya's got the right idea. He's got to get his hips very high.
Yeah, and he's doing the right thing, grabbing that leg. This can be devastating. There is a knee bar from here that is sick.
True, King that did need his hook in for that, though. They call it the Solotov stretch. It's actually a sambo move Russian guy pioneered that move way back in the day. Because they didn't know what to call it, so the MMA community actually went on a rampage and found out what it was. It was in one night in the UFC. I know, what is his name? Oh, King's on a decent guillotine here. No, his hand's not under.
Now you can see King kind of sat to his butt with that guillotine without having it. Ill advised there. He probably, you know, he had a dominant position and just basically gave it up by trying that guillotine when he didn't really have the position for it.
25 seconds left in round 2. Big thank you to everyone that's watching. You see the UFC Fight Pass padding there. Don't forget, we will be live on UFC Fight Pass for Fury FC 59. Flores, Tokos. Tuco Tokos is going to be a title fight in the light heavyweight division. Start that up. 4:30.
So back at UFC 228, Zabit hit that weird back take knee bar on Brandon Davis, and then Aljamain Sterling also pulled off against Cody Stamann. Same submission in the same night, and it was the only 2 that year. It's a very rare sub, but it is like a knee bar, but it really actually kind of splits the hamstring. It's a strange move, and you saw King attempt it there earlier.
Yeah, almost like a banana split. It's a high-level move. It's a high-level jiu-jitsu move, high-level, you know, MMA move.
Not seen very often.
Yeah, not seen very often. Would have been a big deal if he'd have finished that here.
So scoring this fight, I mean, this could be a tricky one because, you know, King spent the time on top. In the second, he was on the back of the first. You know, I think it's narrow, but I do believe King could be up 2 rounds. Yeah, I think so too. I think it's a very, very close round. You know, he's been consistent with his pressure, and up against Anaya up against the cage, has taken him down a couple of times, but has taken the back twice. I think you're right. I think he may have edged out each round.
Go to round 3 now.
It's funny, King went in for a glove touch and Anaya went in for a front kick. I never initiate the glove touches for that reason. Not that Anaya was doing anything dirty. He came in the fight, and King didn't make that read. Yeah, the glove touch is not mandatory by any means.
You almost want to show it before you even start walking out.
Just in case.
There's no way to end a fight getting caught with something like that. See it, Anaya's now throwing a little bit more. This is what we wanted to see from him.
Yeah, the pace of King is definitely being shown in his body language. He looks a little more fatigued and worn out.
Yeah, and I guarantee you both corners said this is 1-1 or this is close or something like that, because especially Anaya, he's coming out and he's looking to win this thing in the 3rd round.
Love seeing Anaya in his pro debut took on Robert Casper, who at the time had 6 fights under his belt. So just taking that fight, don't worry about the records, get that experience, go up against a better fighter at the time. See how much he's learned from his 4 fights so far. Eduardo Anaya, round 3 against Dylan King.
Anaya may have connected a little bit on that knee coming off the cage, because Dylan did not want to engage whenever he was coming back. It looked like he needed to either catch his breath a little bit or maybe get his bearings back.
Yeah, no, King is definitely showing the damage when he gets hit. He backs off, he kind of takes the back foot. Him wrestling that, I believe, is imperative to him staying in this fight. And he was successfully able to hit that clasped hand double leg here against the cage.
Good work, as you mentioned, Alex, just wearing down that lower portion, taking away that foundation of Anaya. And this is something that Anaya's had a hard time figuring out. And this is the 3rd time we've seen this. Dylan King taking the back, trying to work the choke.
Dylan did a better job of not losing his position this time, although he's on the bottom now. Uh-oh, here we go with those long arms. There's that Darce choke.
So the way to finish this, Anaya has to actually roll King over to King's right side, Anaya's left side, to try to like lock the choke into position. So he ended up letting the figure 4 go, and this is more like a modified Japanese necktie style grip. You can use it to reload that grip. Anaya needs to twist hard to his left. If you can get King on his side, and Anaya can step over, he could have finished that choke.
Yeah, and he can also grab the leg from that top and kind of put his head in the breadbasket, finish it with a Japanese necktie, and you can even finish the Darce choke from that position. Puts a lot of pressure on that neck.
It's the same thing. These guys got to get their hooks in. I think Anaya needs to step that left leg around the thigh there of King. And from here, I always go body lock. I never go seatbelt on these standing back kicks, because you'll almost certainly slide off. Same attack, but again, I know you need the hook. If Anaya doesn't get that left hook in, he's not going to finish this solo tough stretch, this modified knee bar. It's a weird one too. But what happens when you get your hooks in, you can actually bridge and like drive your hips into their lower back, and it makes them flatten out. But the trick is you have that leg, so it makes you do the splits, not by choice.
Yeah, very, very uncomfortable. 125, what should Dylan King be trying to do right now?
He needs to turn and get his body up against the cage and use the cage to kind of peel Anaya off of his back, just like Anaya has the first couple of times that King had his back. He needs to do the exact same thing. He's kind of in there in the center, just like Anaya, maybe hitting the back of the head there a little bit.
See, I think King making it to the scorecards is big for him, because he may know he's up.
Nice job of knocking Anaya off the top, over the top. Anaya working from the bottom here. Got about a little less than a minute left.
Anaya's corner just telling him, push the head away, push the head away. Fight some of that pressure off.
Get back up and make something happen, which definitely is the thing to do, and Anaya knows it. But anyone watching at home, you guys, the fatigue you feel in these fights, especially the last 30 seconds of a 15-minute fight, it's something that words can never describe. You got to feel it, and you'll really see who's a fighter who digs deep to finish these exchanges. Good on Anaya for hitting that butterfly sweep. He needs to get to work. I mean, if he can be accurate, put something together.
Yeah,
damage here.
Anaya came up immediately with that hammer fist.
10 seconds left, both guys just absolutely gassed. Who's going to have enough to maybe pull out this fight, get that sneak win, and finish it? And that will be it. A furious ending there.
Dylan King almost fell on that last exchange. He was almost down, either from exhaustion or from that connected spinning back fist, but he almost went down. That may be the difference in the fight, the fact that he stayed on his feet.
Yeah, you saw King walking away on shaky legs. I think he's just tired. I mean, fighting does some crazy stuff to your body, chemically, emotionally, physically. It's an experience, for sure.
Take a look at our highlights for round 3. A much better round here for Eduardo Anaya.
So round 3, definitely Anaya's, I think, safely saying. And then rounds 1 and 2 were close, but King, I believe, had the more significant positioning. I mean, this is a close fight. You know, if you ask me, I think I got to go by the textbook and maybe give 1 and 2 to King for his back take and his top position and his takedowns. But there wasn't a lot of damage done. He did have the rear naked choke in the first.
Now, we may see a split decision here for either guy. You know, round 1 was really close, but I think, like you said, I think I edged it out to King. Same with the round 2. And then Anaya definitely in round 3. But we'll just see if it was enough. I mean, 2 rounds to 1 still wins the fight.
Yeah, sure does.
Big thing here for both fighters. You want to go see what you have against a tough opponent, see how you measure up, and both guys did a good job of doing that. Let's go inside to Wayne to see who wins this fight.
Ladies and gentlemen, after 3 rounds of combat, we go to the judges' scorecards for a decision brought to you by Space City Collective. Judge Brian Tukamoto scores the fight 29-28 for Eduardo Anaya. Judge Brian Thompson scores the fight 29-28 for Dylan King. And Judge Rob Alexander scores the fight 29-28, declaring your winner by split decision, Eduardo Anaya.
All right, so Eduardo Anaya gets his 3rd win of his career, goes above 500 now, and we knew in that first round it was kind of up in the air. And
second round too.
Yeah.
I mean, like Michael said, perfect. You know, it could have been a split for either guy, and I think that's fair. Neither guy can be too happy or too sad with that outcome. I mean, Anaya got to be happy for sure getting that nod, for sure. Good fight, competitive fight, fun fight to watch.
Nice fight. All right, we keep it rolling, and we go to the heavyweight division now and see the big boys go at it. Let's go inside to Wade.
All right, important to note, after some internal discussion amongst the officials with Texas Department of Licensing and Regulation regarding the opening contest, the no contest has been overturned. Your winner of the opening match, Devin Jackson. Having gotten that out of the way, please welcome to the blue corner, Avery Wilson.
All right, so we go from our bantamweights and featherweights to our big boys now. Avery Wilson, love his nickname.
Yeah.
These hands.
Yeah, Avery Wilson says he's going to catch his opponent's going to catch these hands. This fight. This guy's only 6 foot tall, but 5-1 as an amateur, fighting at a 501 Fight Club in Cabot, Arkansas. Has fought some boxing matches. 4 of his 5 fights are finishes. He has 1 loss to 10-2 Will Monroe during his amateur career, but this is his pro debut. He's been training for 10 years, fighting MMA since 2016. He's a father of 3. This dude runs a business back in Cabot, Arkansas. He actually owns a Sonic and runs and operates a Sonic drive-in.
Cool.
So luckily he's a heavyweight, so he can consume some of his own product, so he doesn't have to worry about weight. Got a little bit of room there.
Man, it's no joke working at an ice cream place. Like, I know Sonic is more than ice cream. My freshman year, I worked at a marble slab. And you know, like right now, I'm nice and lean. I added 20 pounds from just eating that sweet cream Butterfinger mixed in with a waffle cone.
Oh, I'll bet. I could never work at a food establishment. I'd have to be a heavyweight myself.
When you're a poor freshman and you got unlimited ice cream, hey man, in protein, carbs, fat, you're good, right?
Yeah, I'm going to hit Avery Wilson up for a Butterfinger blast. I love those things. Those are my weaknesses.
Love it. Avery Wilson, man, he is a character, a really fun fighter as well.
Corner, Jake Williams.
And his opponent, Jake Williams.
Man, Jake Williams, Jake Williams 0-1, 6'4", he's 36 years old. Man, this is one of the nicest guys I've ever met in MMA. He's a really, really nice guy, full-time police officer. He teaches hand-to-hand combat for his fellow law enforcement officers. Big advocate for all law enforcement officers training in jiu-jitsu or some kind of fighting, and was really, really talked about that a lot whenever we talked before the fight. Of course, he's a big fan of Bryce Mitchell in the UFC. They're from the same area, and more than Bryce Mitchell's fighting, Bryce Mitchell, the human being, is a really big fan of him. He does a lot of stuff for charity already. Wants to show that age is just a number at 36 years old, that he can still get in there and fight and still go places.
Yeah, heavyweights are often the exception to a lot of the different, stats for MMA. And man, we must have called almost all of Jake Williams' fights now. I mean, I remember calling his amateur fights, his amateur title fight, now his pro debut, now his second fight as a pro. He's always fun to watch. He's a class act, and he's a heavyweight, so we're gonna have some action.
Absolutely. Here's a little fun story. After his last fight, he took a shower, and as Michael mentioned, he is a full-time cop. He actually had a shift he went to right after his fight, so that's just the kind of dude Jake Williams is. Let's go inside the cage to Wade for our official introductions.
Ladies and gentlemen, your next fight, brought to you by BumpBox.com, is scheduled for 3 rounds in the Fury FC Heavyweight Division. Introducing your first competitor, fighting out of the blue corner. This mixed martial artist stands 6 feet tall, and he weighed in at 258.8 pounds. Fighting out of BB, Arkansas, after an amateur record of 5 wins, 1 loss, today he makes his professional debut. This is Avery "These Hands" Wilson. And introducing his opponent across the cage, fighting out of the red corner. This freestyle fighter stands 6 feet 4 inches tall, and he weighed in officially at 255.8 pounds. Fighting out of Dickinson, Texas, today he seeks his first professional victory. This is Hazardous Jake Williams. Your referee in charge of the action, Professor Joe Solis.
All right, that cage door is officially closed. Here we go, a heavyweight showdown. Avery Wilson against Jake Williams.
And here you go. Let's see if we see an advantage in the taller fighter in Jake Williams. You can see they look they're completely different looking fighters. I mean, I know he's only 4 inches shorter, but he looks like he's a foot shorter than Jake Williams. Avery Wilson does.
Williams with the graceful high kick, came out of nowhere, super quick. I like him to use a lot of kicks early in this fight.
Nice loose hips for Jake there, again with that high kick.
Wilson returns a good inside kick of his own. Wilson got a good game face on, even as he was walking out. I mean, he was pretty hyped up. He seems very focused. Ready to let his hands go.
Ooh, big shot to the body there from Jake Williams.
Rarely do you see heavyweights with a bit of a kickback.
As you mentioned, Avery Wilson had such a good amateur.
Huge spin back fist.
That is it. That is it. Professor Joe Solis trying to get in there to start this. As I mentioned, those hands. We just met that Avery Wilson.
Wow. Jake Williams is out, man.
Man, Avery Wilson,
He got hands.
as short as he is and as big as he is, that dude is an athlete.
Whoa. It was a big KO. There's a spinning back fist with some pretty serious ground and pound afterwards.
Man, Avery Wilson pleading to Eric Garcia. We didn't see it on tape, but he is pleading to Eric Garcia, just letting him know that I am here. And I want my name out there in Fury FC.
Huge knockout. I mean, can't wait to see that highlight. It was a big shot.
That's what you get from the heavyweights, man. It's typically not that fast, but this dude is a great athlete. I mean, he showed some speed, showed some technical prowess there. It's really, really good. You see both fighters came out throwing. Both fighters throwing kicks, throwing heavy head kicks. And you'll see it wasn't very long.
Very few punches thrown at all.
Yeah, and then, man, that spinning back elbow was right on the button.
I mean, that was just perfect placement there. Because it obviously had power behind it, but the windup wasn't that huge.
No, his forearm, really kind of cracked him right in the ear and temple. And then he landed some monstrous uppercuts and ground and pound to get the finish.
And we'll see if that's enough to earn him that bump box KO.
Oh, he better get, they got a bump box in there for him. He better get a bump box for that.
Yeah.
And you saw that Jake Williams was kind of rotating around to that side, kind of moving away from that power hand. And that's what inspired him, I guess, to, hey, he's back there. He's back there. Let's see if he'll go into this spinning elbow. You see Jake moving to his right. Bam! Right in there, right on the button. And then some uppercuts.
I'll tell you, the back fist definitely dropped him and rocked him. It's the uppercuts that really put him out.
The power behind those uppercuts. Man. Let's go inside the ring.
Ladies and gentlemen, the end comes. 1 minute, 3 seconds into the very first round, declaring your winner by spinning back fist knockout, Avery "These Hands" Wilson.
Nice performance from Avery Wilson.
Love that, the big bump of the night. And don't forget to follow us on Instagram at Fury Fighting to find replays and highlights of our old bump of the night, our kicks of the night, brought to you by Space City Collective as well. A lot of great content on there, and man, what a win for Avery Wilson.
I don't know Avery, but I'll bet you the beer consumption for the celebration tonight is going to be large.
Well deserved too.
Yeah, absolutely.
Let's go inside to wait for our next fight.
Please welcome to the blue corner, Drake Lopez.
All right, Drake Lopez coming out to a little push and T. I love it. It's a motto we should all live by. Yesterday's price is not today's price.
Yeah, Drake Lopez just fought last month. He lost his debut to Ben Williford by armbar, but was 2-3 as an amateur. Both of his wins were finishes. Still a little bit unknown about this kid. Still learning. Still coming up.
So yeah, one of his wins actually against one of my guys, a good striker of mine too. And man, we watched tape on Drake and we're like, hey, he's gonna come out fast, and he did. So he's a 25. So his pace is high naturally. Double that pace in the first round, and that's how he fights. He is like an all offense or nothing kind of guy. When he grapples hard. He bites on submissions hard, and when he throws hard. I'm sure now as a pro, he's probably worked on some pacing, but this guy's a problem for anyone in the first round, and you know, he does well as the fight goes on as well. I've seen him gas a little bit in some tape when he was an amateur, but that was a long time ago. And I'll tell you, man, this guy's powerful, and this guy's explosive.
Yeah, you see him, very ambitious. Another very ambitious competitor wearing the UFC shorts for this fight.
Doesn't shy away from competition as well. Take any fight pretty much.
The sporting the UFC logos worked a little earlier in the card. Let's see if it's working again.
Welcome to the red corner, Isaiah Torres.
His opponent, Isaiah Torres, 1-1. Really tall fighter, good striking, kickboxing background for Torres.
Yeah, Isaiah Torres 1-1, fighting out of the Ultimate Performance Center of Pueblo. He also lost to Ben Williford, so both of these guys have fought Ben Williford, lost by decision. This kid was 7-3 as an amateur, been fighting since 2017. Likes to fight about 3 times a year, and this kid's got a good guillotine. Says he thinks that's how he's going to get the finish today.
Torres getting that final check-in here from Professor Joe Solis, making sure everything's good. We've got the Eskimo fighter pretty much, right?
Yeah.
We've got the share the loss.
That's right.
Our tail of the tape brought to you by Sheep Underwear. A 7-inch reach advantage for Isaiah Torres, 5'8" versus 5'5". Drake Lopez, the younger fighter of the two, 21-year-old explosive fighter out of San Antonio, looking to get his first professional win against Isaiah Torres.
Yeah, Drake Lopez looks like a stick of dynamite.
Fights like one too.
Yeah.
Let's go inside the weigh.
Ladies and gentlemen, the following contest, brought to you by Marshall Inu, is scheduled for 3 rounds in the Fury FC flyweight division. Introducing to you first, fighting out of the blue corner. This freestyle fighter stands 5 feet, 5 inches tall, and he weighed in at 126 pounds. Fighting out of San Antonio, Texas, today he seeks his first professional victory. This is Drake Lopez. And introducing his opponent, fighting out of the red corner. This mixed martial artist stands 5 feet 8 inches tall, and he weighed in officially at 125.2 pounds. Fighting out of Pueblo, Colorado, he holds a professional record of 1 win, 1 loss. This is Isaiah Torres. Your referee in charge of the action, Danny De Alejandro.
Before we get this action started, guys, I want to remind everyone they did correct that mistake they had earlier. Devin Jackson winning that opener as he should have. So I'm glad they were able to talk about that and get that corrected before it had to go to a board or anything like that.
Yeah, nice to get that correction done on site. Everything's good. Our 5th fight of our Fury FC 59 prelims. Thank you so much for watching on Facebook and YouTube.
Drake Lopez with that relentless pressure, as you mentioned, Alex.
You know what? It was interesting to see Drake shoot so early. The times I've seen him most successful is with his very offensive striking. You know, he had a decent finish, but it got instantly reversed.
Yeah, this is not good for him right now.
He's got a fresh, dry fighter on his back in a figure 4.
Torres using that reach advantage, the length, trying to see if he can catch something on Drake.
Very nice shake off by Drake Lopez. He was in a little bit of trouble there and kind of shook him off like it was nothing. Big overhand left.
Drake will get a lot of power behind his punches as we just saw there.
He's fast too. Perhaps he's cautious of the length of his opponent because he's running to a couple of knees, but he often doesn't wrestle as quickly as he's doing tonight.
Isaiah Torres throwing a couple of those open hand slaps. Very nice takedown there by Drake Lopez.
That was a textbook takedown.
Yeah, beautiful takedown. Right into it. Looks like he's going for an ankle lock there. Wants to take advantage of that drive fighter like Alex talked about earlier. Really pushing that position.
He elects, they had almost a 50-50 position.
Yeah, got to be careful here.
You know, all the leg locks, the ankle locks there. What's the risk?
Oh, that's deep.
Oh, that is really deep. And
that looks like his ankle.
How did his ankle stay intact?
It looked almost dislocated.
Oh, that is.
Did he just tap?
Okay, we got to figure this out because another ending here that.
Oh, he's limping off.
Yeah, he is limping.
When he had that straight ankle, it looked like it was out of socket. I mean, yeah, he can't walk around, Torres.
Yeah, you can see the swelling there on the right ankle.
Yikes.
Yeah, that's tough, man.
This Drake Lopez is an anomaly, man.
Yeah.
You know, he had an upside-down record as an amateur with wild finishes. 0-1 as a pro, but he's diving on heel hooks. So here he goes for a straight ankle on the non-captured leg. And watch. Oh, it's almost like a, right there. It's like a heel hook.
Yeah, that's awful.
From a straight ankle lock position.
I'll be honest with you, for everyone that's watching at home and for our broadcast table, I'm not looking at that highlight. I do not want to see that ankle.
I got to look at it to learn.
I know you do.
I don't know what to classify that submission as. Yeah. It was a straight ankle lock, but
very unorthodox. With
the effects of a heel hook. I mean, it was like a straight ankle lock with the heel pops out.
Yeah. If you were in the gi, it would be illegal. That's all right.
Yeah, sure would be.
Man, let's take a look at that one more time. We'll look at some of the round highlights here as well.
So, you know, he's a single leg to the inside trip. Drake gets his back taken, but he shakes him off pretty quickly. Throwing some pretty quick shots.
Yeah, and Drake was the aggressor the whole time. This whole fight, he was the aggressor.
Oh, man.
Hey, here we go.
You don't want to see it real?
Yep, look away, real.
Myself.
I mean, yikes.
I mean, it is turning the other way right now.
He did step his right leg in between, almost in like a 50-50 position. But, man, without like a figure 4 or even a heavy reap.
Let's go inside. Let's go inside to Wayne Luggett.
Ladies and gentlemen, the end comes 2 minutes, 10 seconds into the very first round. Declaring your winner by submission due to a heel hook, El Maton, Drake Lopez.
Yeah. Man, not want to see that in any future promos. I don't want to see that later on. But, man, what a submission win for Drake Lopez, the explosive fighter out of San Antonio. Good to see him get his first professional win.
We're going to get a still shot of that for you to hang on your wall, Real.
Let's go inside the weigh for our next fight.
Please welcome to the blue corner, Christian Strong.
All right, as we keep it going here, sixth fight of our prelims for Fury FC 59. Flores versus Tokos. Christian Strong making his way to the cage now. 1-0. Really good, solid wrestler, Michael.
Yeah, fighting out of Washington State from Catalyst MMA. Talking about a win that's aged well. It has a decision win over Cameron Smotherman. This guy was 2-0 as an amateur, all wins by decision. So this guy's been the distance a few times. So really, really good guy. Really strong, really big for the weight class.
Yeah, I remember his fight with Smotherman very well. He used his wrestling about as thoroughly and successful as he could have ever hoped. Was able to time takedowns well and maintain top position for the majority of the fight. You know, and we'll see if he can do that again tonight. I mean, you know, we've seen he's got 3 wins, 2 as an amateur, 1 as a pro, all by decision. He's a strong wrestler. You know, with him, what you see is what you get. But the question is, can you stop him?
Yeah, he's one of those guys that's going to be very, very difficult to deal with.
And we meet his opponent now, Gino Schmidt. See, I was having a really hard time, and I still messed up. I will be going with Gino from here on out. I'm going to let you say the last name,
Yeah,
Michael.
the Russian concussion, Gino Shvedov. Last fight was last November 2021. Fighting out of Factory X Muay Thai in Colorado. Was 5-1 as an amateur. Was on a 2-fight win streak. Lost that opener to Dylan King, actually. So lost his pro debut to Dylan King. This dude is one of my favorite guys. This dude was in prison for a little while, had trouble with some addiction problems, but now is the founder and director of Hazelbrook Sober Living and Recovery. This dude's a BJJ purple belt, also has a wrestling background, and also recently he owns and operates a place called Paradigm One. It's a nonprofit that offers boxing, yoga, fitness, jiu-jitsu, and peer support for people in recovery. So this is one of those guys that had some hiccups in his life, decided to turn it around, and I can really appreciate that.
Yeah, likewise. You know, martial arts can often send people down such a positive and healthy path. It definitely, you know, changed the course of my life when I was young, and I'm very grateful for that. And it's awesome to see somebody give back so much.
Look at our tail to tape here. Brought to you by Powerhead Whiskey. This bantamweight division showdown, the 34-year-old Gino Schmidt, 68 inches, 2-inch reach advantage, height equal at 5'7" each. And Christian Strong, the 24-year-old fighter, a tough opponent across the cage today, Gino.
Yeah, the Factory X team is a good team. They got a lot of guys in UFC. They got a lot of fighters. And just when you have so many active pros on your team, the training partners are very abundant, and the quality of the work is often very high.
Yeah, you can never discount the fact that they train at elevation. You can never discount that. If you've ever trained at elevation, you'll know exactly what I'm talking about. But it's something that it's one of those things that once you experience it, you're like, either this is the way I need to train or I never want to do that again.
Yeah.
There's nothing that replicates that elevation, man.
No.
Nothing. All right, let's go inside Tulane Leggett for our official introduction of our sixth fight here.
Ladies and gentlemen, the following contest brought to you by Space City Collective is scheduled for 3 rounds in the Fury FC Bantamweight division. Introducing first, fighting out of the blue corner. This mixed martial artist stands 5 feet, 7 inches tall, and he weighed in at 135.8 pounds. Fighting out of Everett, Washington, he holds a professional record of 1 win, no losses. This is Christian Strong. In introducing his opponent, appropriately fighting out of the red corner. This freestyle fighter stands 5 feet, 7 inches tall, and he weighed in at 135.2 pounds. Fighting out of Moscow, Russia, He holds a professional record of 2 wins, only 1 defeat. This is Gino Schmidt. Your referee in charge of the action, Professor Joe Solis.
All right, so we get things rolling here. 6th fight on our prelim undercard here for Fury FC 59. Flores versus Tuco Tokos. Don't forget, we'll be on UFC Fight Pass at 4:30. Now we see Christian Strong and Gino go at it.
A little bit of a headbutt actually there on accident. Gino landed a good right hand right before that. Notice the bend in Gino's knees. Look how low he is. He's anticipating those takedowns thoroughly. And he has the underhook. Ooh, but he started with a big lift.
Gino got his neck there, but hands aren't quite in the right position there. But this can be effective, and he can finish this from here.
So this is not an arm and guillotine of the guillotines. These are the tighter of the breeds. I mean, this is a classic gripped, not quite a high elbow.
Yeah, the longer this stays in this position, the more it's going to take out of both fighters. And it'll either end in a finish or it'll end in Gino's arms being burned out.
Yeah, so his hands did disconnect. I mean, that's a sheer sign of a lost guillotine. I know this submission very well. I know the ins and outs. And one thing about a wrestler is, as you know, forward heavy, as strong, he shoots all the time. He gets guillotined all the time. I guarantee you his guillotine awareness and defense and survivability is you know, amongst the best in the world. You know, being such a decorated wrestler with the way he fights, I mean, you just know when he trains, he shoots, and you know when he shoots, he gets caught in guillotines, and you know he knows how to survive them.
Yeah,
that's what he's doing right now.
And guaranteeing you, if he's comfortable right here, he's going to allow Gino to do this for as long as Gino wants to do it. To try to burn those arms out as much as he possibly can.
And on cue, as you mentioned, he does get out of that and got about a minute of that lactic acid building up in the right arm of Gino.
Yeah, Gino doing a good job of blocking the back take with the cage.
So they call this, if Strong can get him down. So he had that leg woven in between. They call that the broomstick. It's a very effective takedown. Strong actually breaks off and throws a high kick.
Rare exit high kick.
Gino's ducking a little bit before he throws the right hand. It's a bit of a telegraph. But there's power behind it, I mean.
Gino's such a good fighter. Doesn't mind going all the rounds. Has a good gas tank.
Decent left hook there from Gino. Gino's either going to have to throw that right hand very straight or with an uppercut. If he throws that big right hook over the top, Strong's going to change levels and double leg him.
Yeah, and the way to kind of keep those wrestlers at bay is to keep that jab in their face constantly. Is that every time they change levels, every time they feint, you have to throw that jab in their face. Make it very, very difficult for them to, you know, and at least affect that first step. The first step is the one that either gets in tight enough to be able to finish the takedown, or it makes them stand back up and wait for another opportunity.
Yeah, I'll like feint uppercuts and feint knees a lot just to make the wrestler second guess that entry. I actually don't shoot doubles in fights because I don't want to ever run into a knee or an uppercut. So there's Strong actually entered in with a single leg. Single leg is a little harder to finish, but the entry is a little safer. It's angled, so running into the uppercut or knee is a lot less frequent.
Yeah, and like you said earlier, Alex, I'm sure he runs into this all the time when people grab his head every time he goes in for a single.
Every time. You know, I had one of my teenager students start wrestling, and I was like, you know, when you do jiu-jitsu, you know, what wrestling takedowns you use? And she was like, well, I don't really shoot because everyone goes for guillotines. I'm like, you know, as sure as the sun will shine, you know, jiu-jitsu guys will try to guillotine wrestlers, often unsuccessfully.
Yeah, it's all about that head position, the entry spot, how close you are on that entry step. There's a lot of things that go into takedowns that if you're just a fan, you may not realize, but a lot goes into those wrestling takedowns. And we talked about that wrestling program a little bit earlier. You go into a wrestling program or you go into an MMA gym, that wrestling's one thing. You go into an Olympic caliber room with, you know, 15 future Olympians, that's something completely different.
Again, as you guys are pointing it on cue, we see it. See how comfortable Christian is.
You know, not that Strong's impervious to guillotines. You just know he's got the rep counts here.
Yeah.
And this may very well be uncomfortable and it may be choking him, but not enough to put him to sleep.
And the other thing about the Arm guillotine is you're hardly ever going to get it whenever you're flat on your back. You're going to have to be on that one hip. You're going to have to be kind of out to the side. So even if they do get out, you're not in a position. You're not in a terrible position. If you're flat on your back, you're trying that. You're rarely going to get it. But also, when they do get out, you're in a pretty bad spot.
10 seconds left in our opening round.
Yeah,
Christian Strong.
What we're watching Strong do now, and for the most of this fight, is he'll shoot and either get him down, and if he doesn't, he'll ride him. He'll keep a closed grip, usually around the waist, and just ride him out and make him carry his weight. So one thing Daniel Cormier did extraordinarily well in the first couple rounds of his fights, he'd get the guys tired, then he'd beat him up. Yeah, and that's a common strategy for wrestlers. Hard to stop, too.
Look at our highlights here for round one.
Yeah, Christian Strong obviously winning the wrestling exchanges there, but Gino winning the exchanges on the feet. So really hard round to call, but I would say the control and cage control went to Christian Strong.
Yeah, it's definitely not the most fun style to watch, but it is the most effective. I mean, that's not my opinion. You look at all the UFC champions, the majority of them are high-level wrestlers. And then you get awesome champions like Usman, who's a high-level wrestler, but he's knocking guys out. You know? Yeah. He's got his skin in the game. He's got all that octagon experience. He knows how to throw those hands.
And that's the beauty of the sport, man. And the education part of it is that grinding it out for a round, 2 rounds, that is really, really hard. And just a credit to the gas tank and the work ethic of all those wrestlers out there.
Interesting. Gino is coming out with a different stance here, and he looks pretty fresh. A good little bounce to his feet.
Yeah, we haven't seen Gino that much. You know, he's 2-1, but in the fights we've seen him in, he hasn't faded much throughout the fight. He's come in strong, finished strong.
He's a good front kick earlier there from Gino. Got the attention of Strong. Strong shoots it on a double.
Yeah, nice timing there from Christian Strong to come in on that kick, close that distance.
This is where Christian Strong will stay so well connected even after he postures up. You'll see it eventually. And again, we see that attempt, but see how relaxed he is right now, Christian.
So notice Gino's going for the guillotine, and I think that one was actually relatively deep because Strong actually postured up. He let his pressure go to alleviate the choke, but it actually opened up a transition to the back here of Gino.
Yeah, bad news now for Gino Shvedov. Christian Strong got him flattened out and on that back.
Got him in a little gift wrap grip too.
And doling out some punishment here.
I'm surprised I'm surprised Strong didn't keep throwing those elbows. He had the arm pin. I mean, the grip's pretty temporary. He had to do the damage while it's there.
Yeah, Gino doing a good job of getting Strong off of his back. Technically, he's in a Strong in a topside half guard now.
You see Strong using his right hand to hand off Gino's wrist to his left hand. Is looking for a wrist ride, and Gino counters it by flattening out. But at a cost, you flatten yourself out, you lose leverage to escape. That's a tricky riddle.
Yeah, Christian trying to put his head underneath that elbow to try to get that head and arm choke.
It's in. He's a little high, but I mean, wrestler's got that strength. Ironically, his name is Strong, and there's a squeeze on that.
We'll see. Getting close to tapping is Gino. And if you're Christian Strong now, do you try to hold on to this and keep squeezing, or eventually give it up? And he does eventually give it up. Good toughness from Gino.
I'd say historically, looking at Strong's track record, I don't think he would overcommit to any submission if he knows he has guaranteed top control. And you see him let it go and just transition to that.
Beautiful transitions by Christian Strong.
Yeah, in a great position here to throw punches from the top. He's got that arm over the head. Anytime you can isolate one arm, I say it all the time, if you can isolate one arm, get that elbow above the shoulder, that arm basically becomes useless and very, very weak.
I was actually training with a friend who wrestled in college. He's a black belt. He's a new training partner. He was like, the coach would say the 3 most important aspects of wrestling and jiu-jitsu are, and I was really intrigued. He said position, position, and position. I was like, yeah. And you can see Strong really lives by that, as he's not really willing to take many risks if it's going to make him lose position, as he hits another huge lift and double leg takedown right in the side control.
Beautiful work in round 2 for Christian Strong.
Yeah, Christian Strong dominating the ground here in the second round. Been pretty much in a dominant position like this the entire round. Strong started out with a couple of punches to start out the round, but Christian Strong dove in on that kick and was able to get him back down to the ground with that big slam. He's basically been in this spot ever since.
This is where Christian Strong can improve a little bit, is can you bring some of those punches in a position like this, improve on that. You will eventually run into guys that will be able to get out of these positions, and you want to get damage done as, you know, while you have that position.
You know, it's so funny that the psychological difference. Like one of my main guys, you know, he grapples thoroughly and fights, takes him down, takes their back, mounts him, doesn't do a crazy amount of damage. Whereas I've only been in mount and on the back in 2 fights out of my 30, and I got TKOs pretty quick, just elbows galore. If I didn't finish them, they would get up. So like, it's a risk-reward kind of management. You know, if Strong wanted to just super open up and land 4 huge shots, he could, but he'd probably lose the position. He elects to keep the position and guarantee himself a victorious round.
And Gino peppering in some of those body shots while he can on the left side of Christian Strong.
Tactically, Christian Strong is fighting the perfect fight. I mean, he's not taking any damage. He's dominating the ground. He's dominating the wrestling. Ooh, big shot right as the bell rang.
And then one thing, look at Strong's body language. He's not tired at all. I mean, he can wrestle like this all day long. And like, it'd be one thing if this was like a very competitive takedown versus takedown wrestling match, but it's not. It's one side. I mean, he's shooting it on the takedowns, and he's holding his partner down.
Let's take a look at highlights for round 2.
Yeah, you see Schmidt landed that pretty big overhand right there to start the round. Landed a couple shots here and then throws his kick, and Christian Strong takes the opportunity to dive in there and get that takedown. And this is kind of the story of the match. It's that head and arm choke, or the story of the round. Had that head and arm choke, wasn't able to finish it. Another big takedown.
Gino had some promising movement and strikes there in the beginning of the round, but man, once Strong gets a hold of you, don't get up.
And here we go at the end of the round. Saw that Gino was wobbly a little bit there. They didn't show it, but Christian Strong landed a pretty good kick there right at the end of the round. You see the body language there, the difference in the body language. Christian Strong standing tall. Gino Schmidt leaning over just a little bit, showing he's a little bit tired. We talked about this earlier, Alex. Those wrestling, you know, wrestling like this forever will, I mean, it'll, for 2 rounds, it'll take it out of you.
Oh, yeah.
See Christian Strong just taking his time. Right back. I mean, every round has started like this. Takedown, Gino attempts the guillotine, nothing there, and then Strong just stays connected the whole time.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, guillotine attempts, you know, and they could work, you know. So I love stats, kind of a nerd about it. The UFC recently just released their 2021 submission stats. And #1 submission by far, naked choke, just under 50%, which is greater than normal. And guillotine is almost always #2. There were fewer guillotines than arm bars last year, and it blew my mind.
Wow.
So perhaps the guillotine's time has come and gone. So one thing I love doing from this arm and guillotine position is using the open guard leg to get a butterfly hook and sweep when you have their posture control. But Gino wasn't quite looking to do that. As Strong breaks his head free and is now actually doing some pretty good work with the ground and head.
Yeah, it doesn't look like Christian Strong wants us to go to decision. He wants to make a statement here.
Big shots connecting there, just constantly peppering in. Interesting to see if Professor Joe Solis will step in here at any point and call this, because Gino is in a turtle. I mean, he is still working to get up and be active and stay alive, but man, good flurry there from Christian Strong.
Strong landed about 30 shots right there.
Yeah, and as long as Gino is trying to get up and as long as he's blocking with his hand, Joe Solis is going to let that go a little bit. These guys are pros now, and as he should. There's nothing devastating about those punches. Gino still has his wits about him.
So this is one of those things, and granted, I did it for probably 14 years. Guys would shoot and I would go for guillotines, but I've, as of late, killed that habit and started punching underhooks. As comfortable as going for that sub, you're just not going to get on top.
Yeah, this may be the end here. Christian Strong
And now
dominating from the top, just pummeling Gino Schmidt from here.
Yeah. Same thing. He was right at like 21 punches right there.
Yeah, Gino very, very tough. Not going to go out without a fight.
Christian Strong still putting so much pressure, getting Gino up against the cage.
Yeah, he's trying to pull Gino away from the cage, get his left shoulder away from the cage, and then he's going to slide up and take his back. That's what he's attempting anyways. Gino doing a good job of keeping his hips. His hands are a little bit low. Good for this.
Yeah.
For the big takedown there. Typically you want the hands below the waist or below the butt on those. He was able to pick him up with his hands basically around his waist.
Yep. And then you guys see on the top right shoulder of Strong there, he's got that you know, North America country, you know, red and blue wrestlers doing the suplex logo. Man, my wrestling coach told me, I forget exactly what that tattoo means, but I think it's only for D1
All-Americans.
Or All-Americans, yeah. I mean, not everyone can get that. You got to earn it hard. So it's like, I think 8 guys in a season can maybe get it or something. I forget the stat, or I forget the details, but I know it's a prestigious tattoo to get.
Yeah. And showing his chops here in that wrestling, I mean, dominating the ground game here.
Man, just beautiful, beautiful work on the ground by Christian Strong. Gino just not able to figure it out so far. With under a minute left in round 3. It's been all Christian Strong, and this round a little different from the other two, where he's actually bringing some punches now in that position, and that is, it looks like that is,
I think he's gonna.
that's it, right? Yeah, it looks like that is it. Professor Joe Solis calls it, just not enough defense there from Gino, and Christian Strong with the big win, dominating performance, and gets the finish, which is huge for Christian Strong.
Yeah, good for Christian Strong. That's 2 pretty much perfect performances here in the Fury cage. And that's hard to come by because the competition in this promotion is only getting better and better.
Take a look at the highlights for round 3. Christian Strong starting every round with this, just going to that wrestling and working Gino.
Yeah, there was, you know, a little over a minute left, and you know, I just think he would have just taken more and more shots.
Yeah.
And you know, it was funny. Strong had actually thrown 2 elbows right around the ear temple, and that's when Joe was like, all right, you know, that's enough damage there.
Yeah, and plus Joe was able to get a clear vision of his eyes, so that's a big indicator on, you know, a fighter's conditions. If you're looking at their eyes, when you see those, you know, Joe had seen enough at that point, and there was no argument from Gino Schmidt. He was done.
Yeah, that was a good stoppage.
Yeah, Gino Schmidt, a good dude. I really like this dude. I hope to see him again here really, really soon. I think he'll bounce back and get better from this.
Yeah, you know, Gino's a big, muscular 35er with some power. I'd love to see him fight a guy perhaps with a different style.
Yeah.
All right, let's go inside to Wayne Leggett to make this official for Christian Strong.
Ladies and gentlemen, Professor Joe Solis calls for a stop to the action. 4 minutes, 16 seconds into round number 3, declaring your winner by TKO, Christian Strong.
Man, that was a fun fight. Christian Strong, dominating performance. That wrestling just took over, and then those punches were enough to get that stoppage against a formidable opponent. Congratulations to Christian Strong, moving to 2-0. Let's get the introductions for our final fight. Let's go Tyson Wayne.
Please welcome to the blue corner, Marquise Johnson.
Good pacing, good timing here. This is the final prelim fight. We got no swing bounce.
Love it.
We got a lot of them to get through too.
Absolutely, and don't forget UFC Fight Pass. We will go live on UFC Fight Pass at 4:30 for our light heavyweight title fight. Marquise Johnson making the run out. Jackson Wink, MMA fighter, 1-5, professional career fighting here in Houston, but don't let that record fool you, man. He's a strong fighter for this flyweight class.
Yeah, you know, he's 1-5, but unfortunately all of his fights are finishes. So this guy is you know, he's one of those. He's 7-6 as an amateur. He's been fighting since 2011, so he's got a ton of experience. He's been in there quite a bit. He's always in the fight, but he's one of those guys that just brings it, and that's exactly what he brings is the fight. And he takes it all in there, and it's I'm going to win today or I'm going to lose today. Doesn't worry about strategy, doesn't worry about anything. He just takes it in there, and let's take this fight to this dude and see what happens.
Yeah, there's a certain freedom to that. I mean, definitely does not want the judges to do their job by any means.
Just a fighter, man. I love that. Love those kind of guys. Records began. Let's just go fight and see what happens.
Please welcome to the red corner, Oscar Herrera.
Oscar Herrera went 3-0 last year. All the guys he fought were debut guys as well, but still got the wins.
Yeah, and Oscar Herrera, I'm a little concerned about his nickname, the Moisturizer. I'm not exactly sure where that nickname came from. It'd be an interesting story to hear. 26 years old, 5'6". Last fought in September of 2021, fighting out of Factory X Muay Thai. There's a few guys here on the card tonight in Colorado. This kid was 8-7 as an amateur, 3-0 as a pro. He's on a roll.
That's a good record. I know his main goal tonight is to keep that zero there, stay undefeated. He got a good team behind him.
As you mentioned, you saw it on the graphic there just a second ago. His Instagram handle, the Moisty one. And all right, there's that. You know, hey, we got that. Our tail of the tape brought to you by Howler and Whiskey. The 2-inch reach advantage for Marquise Johnson. Both guys 5'7", and the 30-year-old Marquise Johnson trying to get the second win of his career against a talented, active fighter, Oscar Herrera.
He's walking out to pretty traditional Mexican music. He's going to get you a lot of fans here in Houston with that.
Yeah, he's got great hair. Maybe he's got, look at that, he's got great skin. Maybe that's why they call it moisturizer.
Moisturizer. Moisty_1.
I can't wait to hear Wayne Leggett say Oscar Moisturizer Herrera. Let's hear it, Wayne.
Usually Wayne will be saying that on a Saturday night.
Yeah.
And not getting paid, but let's go inside.
And unfortunately, he's alone.
Ladies and gentlemen, the following contest, brought to you by BumpBox.com, is scheduled for 3 rounds in the Fury FC Flyweight Division. Introducing your first competitor, fighting out of the blue corner. This mixed martial artist stands 5 feet, 7 inches tall, and he weighed in at 126 pounds even. Fighting out of Albuquerque, New Mexico, today he seeks his second victory as a professional. This is Marquise Johnson. And introducing his opponent across the cage, fighting out of the red corner. This freestyle fighter stands 5 feet 7 inches tall, and he weighed in officially at 125.6 pounds. Fighting out of Inglewood, Colorado, he's undefeated as a pro with a record of 3 wins, no losses. This is Oscar Moisty Herrera. Your referee in charge of the action, Danny DeAlejandro.
Oh, man. We need that clipped up for social media. By the way, don't forget to follow us at Fury Fighting on Instagram. And thank you for everyone watching us here on Facebook and YouTube. And Marquise Johnson wasting no time, no glove touch, trying to get this fight over as fast as possible.
Yeah, the chance of this going the distance is so low. I mean, if it was a prop bet, it would have to be, you know, plus 500. Oh, big left hand there from Marquise.
Yeah, Marquise with that big slam. Looks like that may have hurt Oscar Herrera a little bit as he hit the ground.
I heard Johnson was all offense and not disappointed.
Johnson's so big for this flyweight class. It's always interesting to see a guy like Marquise Johnson and Oscar Herrera go at it. Two different body types, two different builds, yet in the same weight class.
You had Marquise wearing those Muay Thai shorts, and you came out and you saw that stance he was kind of taking and the way he was walking forward. That's a, you know, kind of a conventional Muay Thai style of fighting. And then here he is on the back, threatening a rear naked choke.
You know, when guys are pacing and eyeballing you and electing not to touch gloves, you got to anticipate a very fast start.
Yeah, that's exactly what he got. Big left hand and then right down with a big slam down to the ground. And now Marquise Jackson is on, Johnson is on the back of Oscar Herrera. Oscar needing to slide around a little bit and maybe needing some moisturizer here to get out of this back cage, and there he does it.
Moisty gets out of that.
Yeah.
You know, and that's what's bizarre about MMA. You know, Johnson's record is 1-5. No offense, that's not a good record. But the way he's fighting right now is all offense. The technique is great. I mean, MMA, it's so hard to predict, so hard to even prepare for. You gotta do the best at what you're doing the best at. You do the best at what you're the best at.
Marquise started his pro career in 2018, went 0-4 to start it from 2018 to 2019. And of course, we had the break for most people during the pandemic. Talking this Marquise.
I'm a fan of Johnson, man. He's big and strong. I mean, he is muscling Herrera around.
He's manhandling Oscar Herrera like they're in a different weight class.
And that's the thing, you know, Herrera's 3-0. A record infinitely better, but he's getting beat up by Johnson.
That was the thing, talking to a few people before we started our prelims, is the weight of Marquise Johnson. Will that be, and the strength of Marquise Johnson, is that going to be the big deciding factor? And so far, it looks like it is.
Yeah, we'll see how it goes past the first round. You know, Marquise obviously looking to finish this as early as possible. See what his cardio looks like going into the second.
And granted, Marquise is hitting big takedowns and throwing big shots, but I mean, it doesn't seem like his pace is outrageous. He seems like he's pretty measured.
Yeah, in full control here in the first round. A little over 3 minutes have gone by. Minute 35 left in the first round. Been all Marquise Johnson so far. Big shots from the top there.
This is what we want to see from Marquise here in his dominating position. Can he land some big shots?
Alex, what's your take on that whenever your head's up against the cage, you got a guy that's putting a lot of pressure on you from the top? What do you want to do? What does Alex Morano do from here?
So yeah, if you're really feeling the chain link against the back of your head, you want to like rotate just so your head and neck's not being pressured. But I mean, this is very classic problem troubleshooting in MMA. Bottom man got to get back up. Closed guard is not a great position in MMA anymore. It used to be, but everyone knows how to grapple. Guys know how to hold them down.
Yeah, when I was doing MMA, this was a big drill for us. One person's head against the cage, the other person on top in the guard, and you just start throwing punches with 4-ounce gloves. It was brutal back then in 2009, 2010.
Big shots here from Johnson. I mean, and you know, usually guys with records like his, and again, no offense, they get caught in wayward submissions, but he's defended off guillotines and arm bars very technically and very aggressively.
Yeah, when he was defending that arm bar, he picked Oscar up and was looking around at the crowd, asking him how he should throw him down.
Reminds me of Charles Crazy Horse Bennett.
Yeah.
Fun guy to watch.
Yeah.
Not the prettiest record either, but I mean, an entertaining fighter.
Yeah, dominant first round for Marquise Johnson.
Take a look at highlights from round one. Marquise Johnson with that big takedown to get us going.
I mean, I would not say a 10-8, but I mean, he won that round. He won 100% of that round.
Oh, yeah.
To Johnson. That's where the scuff on Herrera's head came in. He shot in as Johnson threw that no-switch left kick, and his knee actually kind of grazed him right in the head. scuffed up his skin a little bit right on the forehead.
I've never seen that before, Michael. He's just picking up Oscar in that attempt and just looking around like, all right.
Yeah, and you know, Oscar looked like he was going for an armbar there, switched maybe to an omoplata attempt, but Marquise Johnson in a good spot, and, you know, kind of had the position on him. Was able to just pick him up and carry him around for half a second.
Like an old school wrestler, like a superstar, WWE superstar, right? Where you're looking around like, that's it. Surprised he didn't drop a brother.
Man, and Marquise Johnson is not touching gloves. He's not anything. He's straight to business as soon as that bell rings.
See the adjustments from Oscar Herrera, round 2. What his corner told him to do here, and see if he can figure out this puzzle.
Yeah, Marquise Johnson's staying in great position. Every time he steps in the pocket, he's in that traditional Muay Thai stance. He's kind of walking forward. You know, those high knees that he does. Every time that Oscar Herrera throws a leg kick, he's able to check it.
There's a guard pull there from Oscar Herrera, which is insane. I mean,
yeah,
he spent the whole last round in the guard and didn't really get close to anything.
Yeah, ill-advised to pull guard in an MMA match unless you're Damian Maia.
Oh, those elbows split him open bad. Herrera's bleeding bad. I don't quite know where the cut is, but I know Johnson threw 3 or 4 good little elbows with his left arm, and he really split Herrera open. But he was bleeding quick.
See it.
Yeah, Marquise Johnson showing off those Muay Thai chops, and that's the reason it's called the Art of 8 Limbs, because you've got hands, feet, you've got elbows and knees, all just as devastating as the other.
Anytime Herrera gets any kind of movement, man, it is countered by Marquise Johnson, and just getting back into a really bad position is Oscar Herrera.
Yeah, Oscar Herrera is slaughterhouse bleeding. I mean, he's bleeding all over the place. I feel like he may be coming from the top of his head.
Yeah, I think so. Maybe right behind the ear, or right like above the ear where he got elbowed.
Yeah.
You know, for Herrera, it's not in a dangerous spot. It's not a fighting spot.
No, and again, he may not even know he's bleeding yet. Man, really impressed with Marquise Johnson. You know, at 1-5, you know, I didn't expect the fight to go this way, but man, this is he is dominating this fight over 3-0 Oscar Herrera. And this just goes to show you what that experience can do. You know, Oscar Herrera did not have like an outstanding record as an amateur. I mean, he's 3-0 as a pro, but he was 8-7 as an amateur. So, you know, maybe this is just a bad matchup for him.
Yeah, really. I think that's it, man.
Yeah.
You just see the strength difference here right now.
Oh, a head and arm guillotine. Jack Hermanson tapped out David Brantz with this. So the angle's off. I mean, the only thing is, unlike guillotines, you can't roll out of these. You can't. This is deeper. Oh, it's also really bloody. I mean, that's going to be slippery action for Johnson.
You see Oscar for the first time applying a little pressure. They're trying to.
Johnson does not give up takedowns. I mean, he fights his hardest to defend him.
Yeah, Oscar Herrera needs to change direction here if he's going to get that, finish that takedown. Now going for the back.
I mean, this is the first time in almost 10 minutes we've seen Johnson in any sort of trouble.
Yeah, I don't even know if he considers it. Oh, this is bad. This is not good. He's got about 1 minute and 18 seconds left.
4 is locked in pretty tight there.
Yeah, let's see if Oscar Herrera can solve this puzzle here of those hands and get his arm underneath the chin of Marquise Johnson.
So, Marquise looking for the reversal. Looks like he's going to be successful with these. Got his hips high. Nice, and Herrera looks to stay ahead. Marquise keeps turning, trying to finish that angle. Unsuccessfully, but good effort.
Yeah, here goes Herrera. This would be huge if Herrera was able to finish this after the beating that he's taken so far in the first 2 rounds.
Johnson's hand fighting pretty diligently. You know, so say he stays on his back for 30 seconds. Doesn't the round still go to Johnson?
I think so.
Yeah. It's funny.
Plus,
right
Johnson's
there.
laughing and talking to, I think, Eric Garcia.
Yeah, he's talking to Eric is just laughing right now as well.
Well, you don't want to be on that highlight reel of taunting and then losing.
Yeah.
And he's out.
Yeah, entertainment value only goes so far.
Yeah.
You're the finish of round 2, and a good showing by Oscar Herrera. A little something there, but just not enough. And that was as good of a position as you'll be in. Didn't get the finish there. We look at our highlights for round 2.
So look, you're going to see Johnson get double underhooks, and then, well, we missed it there, but Herrera pulled guard.
Yeah, there's those elbows that caused the cut.
And then he got elbowed for it.
Yeah. Nice shots there from Marquise Johnson from the top.
So Shinya Aoki is one of Japan's most prolific MMA fighters. There's a fight where he's on the guy's back for so long, the guy looks up and he waves to the crowd, and the moment he waves, Shinya Aoki sinks in their naked choke and taps him out.
Yeah. Yeah, you got to be careful with that kind of stuff. Cut man paying extra attention to that cut on the back of Oscar Herrera's head.
So medical staff looking at that cut right now, just making sure you get that blood to stop.
No, that cut's in a super safe spot.
Yeah, get that doctor out of the ring. He's fine. He asked for him to rub dirt and lemon juice in it between rounds. I heard him.
I mean, that's as
all good,
like appropriately placed as a cut could be. I mean,
yeah, that's the best spot for a cut.
Yeah.
All right, so we go to our final round here, the final fight of our prelims for Fury FC 59. Don't forget, we head to UFC Fight Pass right after this fight for a really, really good card featuring our light heavyweight title fight between Flores and Tucos.
You know, it's never too late for a finish. I did not expect this fight to go to the 3rd round.
I didn't either.
That's why I don't bet.
Yeah.
We'll take the safe money here, calling the fights.
Yeah, yeah.
That old saying goes, scared money don't make money.
Oh, man.
Nice right.
Yeah, big shots there from Marquise Johnson. Oscar Herrera not having much luck with anything. Not with the striking, not with the takedowns. Just not having much luck against Marquise Johnson tonight.
Marquise Johnson just playful in there right now.
Man, those leg kicks are really, really hard. He's throwing punches really, really hard, even in the 3rd round.
Records, of course, that's what we all look at to do our prep, and the fans look at, but
ooh, big shot there from Marquise Johnson.
There's got to be something to a guy who is training at Jackson Wink MMA, going up against some other killers.
Yeah, Oscar Herrera is getting busted up now. There goes Marquise Johnson turning Oscar Herrera into a wrestler.
Diligent on the sprawl as well.
Yeah.
I mean, other than the back take, which happens, we've not seen Johnson make a single mistake.
No, this has been a nearly flawless fight. And even whenever he was on his back, Johnson was over there talking to Wayne Leggett and Eric Garcia over there through the cage, letting them know that he was just fine. Now Johnson on the back of Oscar Herrera. Here he goes. Let's see if he can get this finish. You know, after the dominant performance, he would love to get this finish.
Oh, yeah. Keep that trend alive.
You want to give some props to Oscar Herrera. Has been in some really bad positions and has still fought, has stayed alive here in this fight.
Yeah, and you know, 3-0 is a good record. And we really didn't get to see much of Herrera tonight. I mean, I couldn't tell if he's a striker or a grappler.
Yeah.
You know, I'll tell you, Johnson's done such a good job controlling this entire fight.
Yeah, and Alex, this is one of those, you know, if it ends up finishing the way it started, you know, this will be a good learning experience for Oscar Herrera. He should learn a lot from this fight. maybe as far as mindset goes, maybe he saw the 1-5 record and thought this was going to be easy, and Marquise Johnson just came out and put it on him.
Yeah.
And so, skill level wise, they don't, 1-5 versus 3-0, they don't even look like they're in the same category.
No, I know.
So it's really deceiving, and I think something positive will come out of this for Oscar Herrera if he's not able to pull the win out somehow.
Myself as a coach, if anything, I'm going to use this lesson to never underestimate anybody.
Yeah.
It's very important.
Well, we have a little break here as Marquise Johnson still trying to get that finish, trying to work something. I do want to remind everybody watching on Facebook and YouTube that we will be going live on UFC Fight Pass after this fight is over, and make sure you're following us on social media at Fury Fighting on Instagram. And if you're watching at home, you're watching at the gym, you're watching anywhere, make sure you tag us in your stories and your posts, and we will try to reshare those and give you some love. I know so many gyms are watching their fighters, so we want to make sure you guys get some love at Fury Fighting on Instagram.
So you can see what Oscar's doing. He's just got his arms around Johnson. He's holding him on top. What it does is it breaks the posture, but it stops them from doing damage. I mean, you effectively chose to not try to win and just try to survive this last minute. There you go. This is what Herrera needs. I mean, got to either get up or throw up a Hail Mary sub.
Yeah, Oscar Herrera looks like a casualty of war here. Bloody face, just a bloody body. Marquise Johnson is just pouring it on right now, landing some big shots. And those shots are even harder whenever your head is just flat on the mat. There's no distance. Yeah, nowhere to go. It's just there's no shock absorber at all. It doesn't matter how strong your neck is, anything, whenever you're in that position.
That is quite the gash on the back of his head. I just got a good angle of it. It's about a 2-incher, and it's deep.
Yeah, he'll be headed to get some stitches there after this fight's over.
And that will do it. Dominating performance by Marquise Johnson in our final fight of our prelim card.
Yeah, man, flawless performance by Marquise Johnson. Let's look at those highlights. It was full of them for Marquise.
He landed some really good punches in this round from both stances. Good 3-2. There's a good left hand from a southpaw stance.
Yeah, man, that almost finished Oscar Herrera right there. And in fact, I think if Marquise Johnson would have kept punching from that position, I think he would have probably finished the fight, but decided to take advantage of him being on the ground, get him on his back, and just keep pounding him out. Pretty simple win, pretty easy win there. Pretty easy to call. That was Marquise Johnson, but in dominating fashion all 3 rounds.
See Oscar Herrera sitting there, puzzled.
They're going to have to make this decision official quick.
Yeah.
Get to the main card.
And don't forget, we do have a title fight tonight. Light heavyweight title on the line. Tyler Flores against Tuco Tokos. It's going to be our main event on UFC Fight Pass Fury FC 59. Let's go inside the weight to make this official.
Ladies and gentlemen, after 3 rounds of combat, we go to the judges' scorecards for a decision brought to you by Marshall Inu. With scores of 30-26, 30-26, and 30-27, your winner by unanimous decision, Marquise Johnson.
And there it is, second win for Marquise Johnson. Congratulations to him and all the fighters on their big wins. Don't forget, we are heading to UFC Fight Pass. We will start it up at 4:40 p.m. Central Standard Time. Make sure you join us for Fury FC 59. Thank you to everyone for watching. We will see you on UFC Fight Pass.